The royal family has been visiting the United States for over 80 years now, touching lives in states across the nation along the way. While official tours, and even impromptu visits, come with a range of important duties, they typically also allow for public-facing moments of downtime and celebrity-studded fun. From King George VI and the future Queen Mother's very first hot dog to Prince Charles's date with Tricia Nixon, these photos show just how many memories have been made in the United States. With Prince William and Kate Middleton preparing to visit Boston in December 2022, there's no better time to look back at the best royal visits to the US throughout history. 1939. King George VI and the future Queen Mother were the very first British royals to travel to the US in 1939. Here, President Franklin D. Roosevelt and the royals zipped down the streets of New York on the way to the Commander-in-Chief's top cottage retreat. 1939. The King and Queen sail aboard the presidential yacht to Mount Vernon, New York. During a picnic with the President and First Lady, they both tried a hot dog for the very first time. 1939. Here, King George VI and the future Queen Mother stand on the Capitol steps with senators from around the country. 1951. Then Princess Elizabeth made her first trip to the US in 1951, where she met with President Harry Truman. Whenever anyone becomes acquainted with you, he told her at the time, they immediately fall in love. 1957. Queen Elizabeth returned 6 years later for her first state visit as monarch. She appeared to enjoy her first and only college football game in Maryland, where she famously asked, "Where do you get all those enormous players?" 1957. The Queen and Prince Philip tour one of the ships at Jamestown Festival Park's pier during a stop in Virginia. 1959. On a state visit in 1959, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip ride an electric car through the International Chicago Trade Fair. 1965. Princess Margaret and her husband Anthony Armstrong Jones ride one of San Francisco's famous cable cars on their trip to sunny California in November 1965. 1965. Margaret takes in the view from atop the city's iconic Coit Tower. 1965. Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon talking with Alfred Hitchcock in Hollywood in 1965. During a stop in Hollywood, the royals visit Alfred Hitchcock on set of his film Torn Curtain. 1965. Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon with horse. Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon take riding lessons at the Arizona ranch of former U.S. Ambassador to Great Britain, Lewis Douglas. 1965. Royals in Washington. The pair stop in Washington, D.C. toward the end of their trip to take in sights like the Lincoln Memorial. 1970. Tricia Nixon and Prince Charles attend baseball game. During his first visit to the States as Prince of Wales, Prince Charles gets cozy with President Richard Nixon's daughter, Tricia, at a baseball game. "That was quite amusing, I must say," he later told CNN of the trip. "That was the time when they were trying to marry me off to Tricia Nixon." 1970. British royalty visiting the White House under President Nixon. Princess Anne joins her brother on the White House balcony, alongside President Richard Nixon and First Lady Pat Nixon. 1976. President Ford dancing with Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth dances with President Gerald Ford at a White House state dinner during her 1976 East Coast visit. 1976. Queen Elizabeth II state visit to USA Philadelphia. Queen Elizabeth drops by Philadelphia's famous Liberty Bell. 1976. Blow Up New York press conference. The monarch waves at onlookers as she passes the iconic Bloomingdale's flagship store in New York City. 1977. Prince Charles. Prince Charles returned to America in 1977, where he toured the McDonnell Douglas plant in St. Louis. Here, founder James S. McDonnell shows off a F-15 Eagle jet fighter. 1977. Prince Charles on the set of MASH. The future king makes a stop in California, where he visits the set of MASH. The actors, including Alan Alda, share a laugh with the royal over an inflated surgical glove. 1977. Prince Charles continues to mingle with Hollywood stars, like Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors, at a banquet held in his honor at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. 1983. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip tour Rockwell International Space Facility in Downey, California. While in Downey, California, Queen Elizabeth receives a tour of both the Apollo 14 and Space Shuttle models at the Rockwell International Space Facility. 1985. President and Mrs. Reagan with Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Prince Charles and Princess Diana chat with President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan inside the West Sitting Hall of the White House. 1985. Princess Diana dancing with John Travolta in Cross Hall at the White House. At a dinner in Cross Hall at the White House, Princess Diana shares a now-famous dance with John Travolta. First Lady Nancy Reagan actually helped the two of them meet. "Oh yes you can," Reagan told Travolta when he expressed that he couldn't possibly ask the royal to dance. 1985. Royal couple at polo match. During a polo match in Palm Beach, Florida, Princess Diana hands out prizes to the participants, including her husband. 1989. 4 years later, Princess Di made her first official trip overseas without Prince Charles. After arriving in New York City, she visits the Henry Street Settlement on the Lower East Side, a non-profit providing resources and services to residents in need. 1991. Queen and George Bush. In what eventually became known as the "talking hat" speech, Queen Elizabeth famously presents President George H.W. Bush with the Winston Churchill Award from behind a podium that was too tall for her 5 feet 4 inches frame. 1991. Queen Elizabeth II addresses Congress. The monarch makes Congress laugh 2 days later by joking, "I do hope you can see me today." 1996. Princess Diana of Wales. Shortly after her divorce, Lady Di traveled back to the United States for a fundraising event for the Nina Hyde Center for Breast Cancer Research. She is seen laughing with Washington Post owner Katharine Graham, Vogue editor Anna Wintour, designer Ralph Lauren, and Georgetown University president Leo J. O'Donovan. 1996. Princess Diana Hospital Gown USA. Here, Diana visits what's now known as the John H. Stroger Jr. Hospital of Cook County in Chicago. 1996. A few months later, Diana returns to the Big Apple for the Met Gala, wearing this now iconic Versace gown and statement jewelry. 2000. Prince Edward in Boston. Prince Edward accepts the Bette Davis Special Achievement Award at Boston University for his work in documentary filmmaking. 2003. Her Royal Highness Princess and presents historic seeds to establish Memorial Garden. Princess and is presented with a collection of historic seeds to celebrate the opening of Manhattan's British Royal Garden. 2007. Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh attend Kentucky Derby. Queen Elizabeth eagerly points something out to Prince Philip while watching the Kentucky Derby. With her love of both fashionable hats and horses, she fit right in at the event. 2007. The Duchess of Cornwall gets a close-up view of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia that same year. 2010. Queen Elizabeth visits the United Nations in New York. A whopping 53 years after her first United Nations address, Queen Elizabeth makes her return in 2010 in New York. "It is my hope that when judged by future generations, our sincerity, our willingness to take a lead and our determination to do the right thing will stand the test of time," she said at the time. 2010. Queen Elizabeth of England walks after. Later that day, the monarch lays a wreath at the site of the World Trade Center. It was the first time she visited Ground Zero since the September 11 terrorist attacks 9 years earlier. 2011. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attend BAFTA Inner City Arts event. Prince William and Kate Middleton make a trip of their own the following year. Here, they giggle through a painting class held at Inner City Arts in Los Angeles. 2011. Royal salute at the Foundation Polo Challenge. The newlyweds share a kiss following William's participation in the Foundation Polo Challenge in Santa Barbara. 2011. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attend BAFTA Brits to Watch event. While attending the BAFTA Brits to Watch event, they mingle with stars like Jennifer Lopez. 2014. The Duke of Cambridge attends the conservation reception. William and Kate shake hands with Hillary and Chelsea Clinton during a reception in New York City. 2014. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attend Cleveland Cavaliers vs Brooklyn Nets. While in town, the couple stopped by Brooklyn's Barclays Center to take in a basketball game. They were seen sharing popcorn. 2014. Cleveland Cavaliers v Brooklyn Nets. Appearing on the Jumbotron. 2014. Cleveland Cavaliers v Brooklyn Nets. Chatting it up with Jay-Z and Beyoncé. 2014. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attend Brooklyn Nets vs Cleveland Cavaliers. And even receiving some gifts from LeBron James. 2015. Prince Charles and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall speak with President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden in the Oval Office in the White House. Meghan Markle cheers on close friend Serena Williams at Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, New York. She's sitting with the tennis star's family and friends, like Venus Williams and Anna Wintour. 2022. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle share an intimate moment before he gives a keynote address to the United Nations in New York City.